I want to start off by saying all praises to Yahweh, Haba Hashem Yahushua, Baha Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that rule well. I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect, and I want to say shalom to the brothers out there preaching and teaching the truth worldwide. Shalom to you as well. Today's lesson is it's gonna be let Satan should get an advantage over us. And of course, the basis of this lesson is centered around 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So a little while ago, I was just cut my phone on, and I seen this article. This article right here. It said it looks like Iran is ready to start bombing its fake aircraft carrier again. And that made me think back to when I was in the Navy back in when we did our 2011 deployment. No, it's like it. When we did our 2012 deployment, the talk was, everybody who was on the ship that we were going to be part of a false flag attack. And I'm going to tie that into today's current situation. Whereas if you have been listening to, I guess, the news, or I look at a lot of the Navy.mil news, so it's been talks on the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman, aircraft carrier, because they powered by nuclear. They have a 25-year lifespan, and midway through his 25-year lifespan, they sent it to what's called RCOH, where they refill the nuclear reactors, and which allows it to to go for 50 years. Well, the Navy, they proposed to decommission the Truman early, which they could essentially kill a lot of birds with one stone. They could decommission it. It could be a false flag attack using Iran, and essentially it would save the Navy money, because we did the math of all the sailors, because it's like 5,000 sailors on the aircraft carrier, and if everybody, when you set up your life insurance policy with the Navy, if everybody selected the $400,000 payout, it would be cheaper to essentially kill all the sailors on board the ship. That'll be roughly a little bit over $2 billion to pay everybody, all the 5,000 people, $400,000, then to send a ship to RCOH. So they would get that final war that they want to start with Iran by creating a huge false flag attack by actually sinking. In this instance, since the Enterprise, which I was on, of course we didn't get attacked, but they was trying to hype it up, more or less. They could use that same scenario with the Harry S. Truman. So I'm gonna read this article, then I'm gonna get the article on the situation with the Enterprise, and then I'm gonna get the article on the Harry S. Truman, and then that'll be the lesson. All right. It looks like Iran is ready to start bombing its fake aircraft carrier again. I didn't know that Iran had a fake aircraft carrier until now. So it says Iran has a fake aircraft carrier that it uses for target practice as it trains to take on the U.S. Navy, which routinely puts flat tops and other surfaces in the Persian Gulf and surrounding waterways. So it says Iran severely damaged its replica of a U.S. Navy Nimitz-class carrier during drills in 2015, and the ship, a painted barge designed to look like a carrier, sat like that for years. Recent satellite photos taken by Planet Planet Labs and first reported by Defense One show that Iran has completed or is close to completing repair work, meaning it may start it may be prepared to start bombing the fake ship again. So this right here is showing you the that's the pier where the port that is docked at. That's a fake replica aircraft carrier in Bandar Abbas, Iran. And I'm gonna go and get the article. Now this was there were several different articles and videos speaking about the false flag on the USS Enterprise. So this article came out April 9th, 2012, which we knew about this in, I want to say, in like December or January of 2011, when, you know, rumors around the ship were floating around that we might be part of a false flag attack. So, as this article states, would the U.S. military really sacrifice its own to start a war with Iran? Would the U.S. really be complicit in attacks on its own citizens to get into lucrative wars and gain access to precious natural resources? If this sounds outlandish to you, all you have to do is read and read. The USS Enterprise that just arrived in the Persian Gulf, nicknamed the Big E, is scheduled to be decommissioned after this last tour of duty, which is true. A very expensive endeavor. I might add that ship that I was on, they went through an RCOH in 2000. They actually went through a second one. They went through one in like 2006 or 8, and it went over budget just to do 2 last deployments. So they spent billions of dollars because basically the ship was full of nuclear reactor fuel. So the government spent all these billions of dollars just to take it on 2 last deployments, which was mind-boggling. But needless to say, a very expensive endeavor, especially since this was the very first nuclear-powered vessel. It's reminiscent of the old warship left in Pearl Harbor, as the newer ones left just prior to the attacks, or the ultra-expensive asbestos removal scheduled for the Twin Towers before the time of demise. They like to kill many birds with one particular plant stone, if you haven't noticed. They also need something spectacular to jar public opinion, and the aircraft carrier can sustain a lot of very visible, dramatic damage without sinking to once again shock the dumbed down American sheeple. It will also be reminiscent of World War II, which brings up all the subconscious war program. What's with the ships? It seems like a propensity for attacking ships to get us into wars. The Spanish-American War began with the sinking of the Maine, which turned out not to have been attacked by the Spanish. The Lusitania was deliberately sent into German waters, where it was blown up to get the U.S. into World War I. Pearl Harbor was deliberately provoked and allowed event for World War II. Then existed Gulf of Tonkin incident started the Vietnam conflagration. Take the U.S. Liberty, for example. Israel strafing an unarmed American ship in the Mediterranean to try to start a war with Egypt. Witnessed by hundreds and no one ever brought to justice. Seems the U.S. and Israel like to team up What you say? So that goes into this is another big one too. I'm gonna go ahead and read this. There was also the USS Cole bombing in 2000 that they blamed on some Yemen fishermen. Anyone taking a look at the damage could see the explosive device had to be extremely sophisticated. Many saying it appeared it came from the inside of the hull, not the outside. Surprise, surprise. So that's giving you a background on the many different false flags that our government has perpetrated over the years. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get you this last article. Says the Navy plans to. This article came out about 10 months ago, and there have been numerous other articles. And if you looked at this last recent budget that was passed, they tried to slide in that budget again to try to not put the funding in there for the RCOH of Harry S. Truman, but it was blocked. So Congress, they still got the money in there for the Truman to get his refueling of the nuclear reactors. So Norfolk, Virginia, a proposal by the Navy that would send the Norfolk base USS Harry S. Truman to retirement decades early is getting a chilling reception in Congress so far. Under the proposed fiscal year 2020 budget for the Navy, the USS Harry S. Truman would not be funded for a midlife refueling. The refueling and complex overhaul, RCOH, happens at the midpoint of a carrier's service to the nation. The work includes replacing the reactor core. Without that replacement, the ship has to be retired. The Truman was set to undergo refueling in Newport News in 2024. So, as it stands right now, the money is in the budget to complete this RCOH in Newport News and tentatively in 2024. So, as I said, I'm going to kind of recap. The government, they could easily set up a false flag with Iran because they already have a replica aircraft carrier that they are bombing, attacking to try to sink it. So they could use the same scenario on the government that they wanted to use in 2012 against the against the Enterprise. Can use the same situation on the Harry S. Truman, so they could go ahead and sink that ship, get their war with Iran to try to go in there and get what they really want, which is the natural resources in Iran, and set up their puppet government. But as the scripture says, 2 Corinthians 2:11, that Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Till the next time, shalom.